De la peisaje pitorești și orașe istorice până la o cultură vastă, să știți că Regatul Unit oferă o experiență de neuitat, o experiență de-a dreptul unică pentru orice vizitator. De la universitățile recunoscute la nivel mondial până la puncte de atracții turistice, cum ar fi Palatul Buckingham sau The Big Ben, această țară rămâne a fi una de referință atunci când vorbim despre literatură, despre diplomație, eleganță și schimbarea datelor meteo. Astăzi, să știți că avem o deosebită onoare să ne întâlnim cu o figură remarcabilă a diplomației internaționale. Ne aflăm la reședința oficială a Ambasadorului Regatului Unit la Chișinău, Excelența Sa, doamna Fern Horine, și ne propunem să vânăm o conversație plină de învățăminte și, evident, lecții de viață.
Bună dimineața!
Bună dimineața!
Intrați, vă rog!
Mulțumesc frumos!
Bună dimineața!
Bună dimineața!
Îmi pare bine.
Și un călduros bun venit aici, în casa noastră, reședința Ambasadorului Britanic în Chișinău, în Republica Moldova. Este o adevărată plăcere să vă prim astăzi.
Mulțumim foarte mult! Thank you a lot for inviting us to your home.
Vă simțiți acasă. This is the famous kitchen, and I've brought you in here because you're at the British Ambassador's residence, so we should have a cup of tea. And I'm going to make something very British for us to have with our cup of tea.
What?
So I'm going to make scones. They're a traditional thing that you have with afternoon tea. They're very light, they have fruit in them, and they're very tasty. There's a bit of controversy, but I'll tell you about that later.
Will you help us?
I think there are too many cooks in the kitchen, so I will come back later.
Okay, see you. Papa.
Okay, so let's start. Sounds really good and sounds delicious. Așadar, avem planuri pe bune delicioase. Priviți că nu e nevoie de foarte multe ingrediente pentru a prepara scones. E făină, e unt, e lapte, sunt stafide. Sper că și procesul este unul destul de simplu. Your Excellency, is it complicated to prepare scones?
Not at all, but I'll need this as well. It's very easy.
Today, we also mark the International Day of the English language. So tell me, please, do you have an English word or expression that you favor?
Well, it's a really good question because William Shakespeare created so many amazing plays and poems, and so many of those phrases are in modern use now. It's, a wild goose chase. I don't know if that is a phrase that you would know here in Moldova, but it kind of signifies something that is futile and a waste of time. But people use that all the time now, and I guess many don't even realize that they're quoting William Shakespeare. Words are the tools that we use, because words build rapport, you make friends, you make contacts.
And I also know that you're in love with the Romanian language.
I am. I wish I was speaking with you in Romanian, Daniela. We were talking about that before we started filming. Maybe next time I can come on the show and speak Romanian.
Actually, you are in the Republic of Moldova since November. Up to this point, how would you describe our people? What do you like the most in here?
So I think what has really kind of touched me is just how friendly and hospitable the Moldovan people are. I'm not just saying that to be nice. We really have felt incredibly welcome here. And I think that was really signified by Moldova's welcome of Ukrainian refugees. The food is really delicious. Placinta, I really like placinta with the sour cherries. That's really delicious. Food is an important part of how we get to know people.
That's right. This is why today I will find out more about the United Kingdom through these scones, future scones for the moment. Ca să nu credeți că nu m-am implicat deloc, fac și eu ceva. This is it?
Foarte bine!
Bine, și pentru că aceste prăjituri au nevoie de ceva timp pentru a se coace, până le savurăm cu toții, am primit o invitație pe care n-ai cum să o refuzi. Mergem să facem un tur al reședinței. So, lovely picture, Your Excellency.
Yes, every British residence will have a picture or a portrait of the King and Queen. So, there's my boss.
Is this the magic room?
This is the magic room. I wanted to show you some photos.
Please. A lot of photos.
Lots of
actually.
photos. This one is a favourite of mine. I had the honour to meet Nelson Mandela when he visited the United Kingdom on a state visit shortly after he was elected President of South Africa.
I'm sure that you have a lot of pictures that are not displayed here. How do you choose the pictures to be framed?
The pictures we've picked here are of family and friends because a great thing about being a diplomat is you get to travel and see other places and meet other people, which I love. But you also leave people behind, like your family.
It's a big house. Is there someone else in here? With whom are you sharing this house?
There is. Shall we go and meet her?
Yes, sure.
Then we come and
Let's go.
I saw her in Kostești, outside of Chișinău, and because she didn't have a foot, I just thought it's harder. The life is hard for dogs on the street, but really hard for a disabled dog. And she's very sweet. So yeah, we picked her up.
But she was traumatized, but now she looks happy.
I think she's getting over her trauma.
Like I say, it was very nice to meet you. David, I want to ask you something. People have a preconceived image of ambassadors. Usually they think they're very busy, very severe figures.
Yes.
How was Mrs. Ambassador behind the stage, behind the cameras? Tell us more about her personality.
Well, Mrs. Ambassador, behind the scenes, actually is a very compassionate, loving individual. She loves nature. She loves walks in the woods. She also loves dogs and cats. And she does love the occasional British TV show.
What about the scones?
What about the scones?
What about the scones?
Here are the scones. And the scones are now ready.
During the days when you are not engaged in diplomatic activities, how do you like to spend your time?
That's a great question. I mean, being an ambassador is not a 9-to-5 job, so there are lots of evenings and weekends when there are meetings or events for us to attend. But when I do have some free time, I love the fact that I live in between two beautiful parks here in Chișinău. So as soon as I can get my kind of work uniform off, put on some jeans and go for a walk in nature, I really love that. It just makes me feel full of fresh air and beauty. And now spring has come into Chișinău. It's absolutely beautiful, so it's lovely to get outside.
Look who's there!
Hey!
Now it is time for scones.
Yay!
Fantastic, thank you.
Looks great!
So, two counties in the UK, in England, are very famous for scones and afternoon tea, Cornwall and Devon. I was born in Devon, and so in Devon, you put the cream on first and then the jam. In Cornwall, they put the jam on first and then the cream. And depending on where you're from and what your preference is, but there's some people in Devon who think that the way the Cornish do the scone is just terrible and a crime, and other people in Cornwall think that people in Devon are crazy. So there's the controversy around scones.
Actually, I want to talk more about this tradition, 5 o'clock tea. Do really British people adore tea?
I think the British do love tea, but even better, it doesn't have to be at 5 afternoon tea is probably a better way to put it. That gives you flexibility whenever you're feeling hungry and a little bit thirsty to have a lovely snack.
I do drink tea, but I actually prefer coffee. So I don't know if I'm a very good British ambassador for preferring coffee to tea.
Let's talk about Moldavian people.
Well, I think for me, being the British ambassador here, my constituency, the people that I want to get to know are the Moldovan people and what they want for their future, what they're interested in, the things that they care about, and how can the UK support them where we have expertise, where we have an interest and an ability to support. So there's a whole range of programmatic work, UK aid that can support a whole range of things for economic development, for supporting Ukrainian refugees and vulnerable Moldovan families here. So for me, what I'm interested in is meeting as many Moldovan people as possible, understanding what their hopes and what their needs are, and seeing where the UK can support and what we can do together.
And what do you like the most in Moldavian people, David?
I think the fact that they've been so welcoming has been really something special. We're here about 6 months, but we already feel like we're part of the community in many ways. Moldovans have gone out of the way to make us feel like we're home, and that's been very, very nice.
I see some books on the table. Are these your favorite books?
Yes, whenever I travel, and we have traveled to different places, there are certain books that always come with me. And Arthur Conan Doyle, an extremely famous British writer, is one of them. So the complete work of Sherlock Holmes is always by my bedside, and it is something that I truly enjoy. Not only does he write great stories, but he transforms you into a time period that otherwise you would never know about.
Yeah, and literature can take you anywhere, and I mean, obviously, as the British ambassador, I want to promote British literature. It's William Shakespeare's birthday, so he has, as we talked about, has given so much to the language. But there's so many amazing British writers that I think there's a real wealth of literature that we can share with anyone who wants to learn English and read English books. We were joking about the difference in American and British English. I think there's even yesterday there was a word that I used and David said, "That's not a word."
Oh.
And so I had to Google it. He said that I'd made up a word, and so I Googled it and explained that it wasn't a word.
At that time, she was right.
Being a diplomat is very hard. We all need the support of our partner. I can see and feel a great chemistry between you. And if I am allowed, I would really love to find out more about your love story.
Do you want to talk about our love story?
Our love story is maybe not as romantic as it could be at the start. We were both diplomats in Baku, Azerbaijan, and we met over a meeting to discuss motor registration and freedoms and so forth. But nevertheless, we were opposite numbers, so we got to know each other over a period of time. And we found out that not only did we love being diplomats, but we shared a lot of the same values, a lot of the same passions. So that was really our foundation, and it's pretty much carried us to this day.
I like the fact that kind of democracy brought us together. I could not do my job without David by my side.
There's always minor issues that we disagree on, but fortunately, the major ones we do agree on, and that's, I think, what carries us forward. So even though we may have some minor disagreements, we know that the most important things are things that we both value.
Your Excellency, is there something else that you want to tell us?
I think, I guess the final thing I would say is how much Moldova matters to the United Kingdom, that the United Kingdom cares about this country, and the Moldovan people matter to the United Kingdom too.
Thank you for your kindness, for your hospitality, for the scones.
I hope you enjoyed them.
Yes, and especially thank you a lot for your sincerity and for your emotions.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Daniela.